Thank you for Patreon now for donating to the Patreon.
Hey guys, this is Vanity Ezel back at another card fight, Vanguard, Ezel, and the Vanity weekly videos. If you guys enjoy, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and donate to Patreon. Let's get started, shall we? Today, or once more, as usual, I'm recording this 2 days early. Well, first off, we got a lot of a good amount of lyrical Monstera cards already, and most of them are highly rared. But then, accordingly, we're supposed to get a new ride line on Tuesday, or the day this comes up, we're supposed to get a new ride line. I think it's the one that the keyword said was powerful, which I question greatly what Bush Road means by that. I think I do know what it means. It's just that they chose to use the word powerful is just questionable to me. But let's go ahead and get this started, and then we'll figure it out as we go along, because I have no idea what it's actually going to do up until this moment. First up, today we have Seeping Kindness Paraine as our first card. Grade 2, intercept 5k shield, 10k base. Auto when it's put into rearguard circle during your battle phase, it gets +5. Okay, so good Kari support because it doesn't involve Counterblast or Soul Blast, gives you power, and you can combine it with the grade 4 Kari, who also gives +5k to all rear guards guaranteed, which means when this thing is placed during the battle phase with the new Kari, it's a +10 on it. So that's pretty good. Like, all around, this thing works good at Kari support. I would argue you can use it in Felt Rosa, except if I remember correctly, Felt Rosa requires you to drive check a ghost normal unit, right? It's either a ghost unit or a ghost. It's either a ghost normal unit or just a normal unit in general for Felt Rosa to go off and get an extra drive. But either way, Paraine is just a really good support card for Felt Rosa, maybe, and definitely a good support card for Kari as it's just a free 5k plus. So 3 of or 4 of in a Kari deck. Next up, we have Song of Salvation Turael. Grade 1 boost, 5k shield, 8k base. White Wings with this unit in guard circle gets +10k shield. Don't we already have a White Wings card that does that, or is that a different card? I could swear we had a White Wings card that did that. Either way, it's still a decent card for shield fodder. Me personally, I'm not going to use this, because like I use a Black Winged White Wing deck and this does nothing for me, but you know, it's good because I consider Black Wings more the defensive one, so having White Wings have some defensive cards in them is good too. So I swear on my life though that we had a card that did the same thing, but either way, 2 over 3 of. I mean, it also works with the 7k grade 1 that says on play Soul Blast while bounce an 8k grade 1 from your drop zone to hand, so you know you could just loop this with that if you really wanted to if you're in White Wings. So a good addition to a White Wings deck, 3 over 4 of. Next up, we have Wrath's Embrace Betina. Grade 1 boost, 5k shield, 8k base. Auto once per turn when your other ghost unit is placed on the another rearguard circle in the same column as it. Choose a card of Felt Rosa and its card name from your drop, put it to soul. I know this isn't a double rare, so Bushy had to do it this way, but why? Why couldn't it just be send a card to soul? Why did we have to specify Felt Rosa? You know, I guess it's fine because, like, in my opinion, you could just loop Ballista ride line with any deck. Felt Rosa may be one of them that you don't want to do it in. But, like, now this requires you to have Felt Rosa. So I'm not particularly excited about this thing, but it, you know, it works Felt Rosa because they have a semi-soul problem. And Betina can fix that, granted it's a once per turn, but not once per turn once per turn per card, which means you can just color 2 of them to 2 separate columns and abuse it with Felt Rosa. So I give her a 3. If she definitely adds to the pressure that Felt Rosa could possibly put on and allows it to be slightly more consistent. Then we have the card you're supposed to combo with immediately. Straightforward Gaze Constanze. Grade 3, 200 Persona Ride, 13k base. Auto once placed on rearguard other than from hand. Okay, immediately you cannot use that with Kari. Soul Blast 1, it gets +10 for the turn. Yeah, if you can't tell, what you're supposed to do is drive check this, call it into the same column as this thing. Use this thing skill to send a Felt Rosa from drop to soul. But if you don't have a Felt Rosa in drop, use this thing for Soul Blast, one of your ride line, +10. Skill this thing, send that said ride line right back, and then you didn't lose any soul doing so. I have reasons to run this because the deck does need soul. If you want the aggressiveness, you can, but let's all be fair. The countercharger does far more. If the countercharger is too expensive, then go with this. But, like, if the countercharger is not too expensive and you can get it in the grade 3 one, get the grade 3 and get the other grade 3 instead of this, because this thing isn't really that good in comparison. I mean, the 10k is nice, but, you know, I do give it a 3 if you choose to run it, but it's not something I would prefer to run. Then we have Symphonic Sky, Lyudmila. Yeah, that image definitely lewd right there. We got some nice little red star in the background. Grade 1 boost, 5k shield, 8k base. Triple rare for Leranje. Auto at the end of the battle that it boosted. Syllabus 1, perform all the following is equal to the number equal to the according of the song sung this turn. For the record, Bushy is aware that you can only sing 2 songs a turn, right? So the most capabilities you will ever get out of this is like 2 of the 4 abilities that could possibly happen, but sure. Choose one of your units, it gets +5 for the turn. Okay, an extra 5k boost if you use Romantic Happiness. For Twilight Sound of Waves, look at the top card of your deck. Okay, you just get to look at the next trigger possibly, so swing before Van and you might get a trigger out of it. Matter Red Runway, bounce it to hand. Okay, and 6 flower fractal, discard a card, draw a card. I don't know, is it just me or like does this thing feel like it'll lag because it's a triple rare? I don't know why, this doesn't scream triple rare to me, it just feels like, yeah, it has like sub abilities are really good and all, but like look at the top card of your deck. Okay, depending on when that goes off, that's either going to be really not useful or really useful, but then also that depends on what your deck build is and it might not be useful at all. Bouncing it to hand, okay, 5k shield is fine and all, but then against a lot of the power swinger decks, that 5k shield is most likely going to turn into PG fodder. The discard card, draw a card, that is the worst one out of the group, unless like it's comboed with the Twilight Sound of Waves, and the +5 is arguably the best, just because slightly more magic of a number hit. I don't know, I'm just not feeling this card. Is it good and I'm just dumb, or am I right and this thing just feels kind of like lackluster? Maybe it is good, maybe it is actually really good, because I know a lot of cards, Nirvana being one of them, where people said it was bad, and then, oh, look at that, Nirvana's topped at some point, so, yeah, it's, I don't know, I'm gonna give this thing a 3 of, it just feels weird to me, I don't know, and maybe I am just feeling weird about it, but I don't, in my opinion, it's not good, but maybe it is good, so 3 of. And then our last card for the current moment is Smile Together Jizya. Grade 2, intercept 5k shield, 10k base, a double rare. Continuous guard circle. If all your units with Earnest Scout and their card names get plus 10k shield while it's on guard circle. Okay, so you know, if you thankfully for your opponent it doesn't have to be on rear for this to go off, but you know, you place this thing in the guard circle, it's a 5k shield, but then the second you guard with any other Earnest Scout, it goes up to a 15. So that's pretty good. And then continues guard circle. All your rear guards with the Earnest Scout and their card names cannot be hit. So this is a PG, if you can't tell, for your Earnest Scouts. Your opponent swings at your Earnest Scouts, but you don't have any left in hand, but they're also swinging for a big-ass number you can't afford to guard. But if they're swinging out a rear guard, just go Jizya. Jizya will immediately nullify the attack. Yeah, this is actually a good double rare, but I don't know what to replace with it. They've given me so many good options, and I'm not so sure what I want to replace. 4 of, if I can find the room. 3 of, or at least 3 of, but I'm going to hope to try to tech it in at a 4, because that is really good. That is a free PG on a rear guard. Our next card is Awaiting Your Smile Maruel. Grade 0 boost, 5k shield, 8k base, on Black Wings, auto rear at the end of the battle that this unit boosted, you may return it to hand. Okay, and really nice to see some inclusion from other decks that are getting grade 0s as support, because that is something I used to like very much about Vanguard, is that grade 0s would always be a support, and starter choice would actually make a difference. Yes, I'm referring back to the days of G, of course, like I've always missed those, and I really wish they would bring Forerunner back, but they never do. I mean, technically they did in the form of Steve, but let's be fair, that technically doesn't count. So, it's nice to see that grade 0s are getting included. Yes, I'm aware Nirvana and Vanguard do the same thing, but I like the more grade 0s that there are, even if this one is kind of subpar in my opinion. Getting a free bounce and a 5k shield out of it is still pretty good to me, so I give this thing a 3 of or 2 of, depending on how you want to run Black Wings. And now on to our last few cards of the day. First up we had featured Newcomer Musepaal. Grade 1 boost, 5k shield, grade 8k base. Auto rear once per turn, when your other rear guards are placed on the same column as this unit, soul boss 1 of this unit gets +5 for the turn. This card acts as a good booster, as it, only for Soul Buster 1 gets a +5. Every deck now has a Soul Charger. So this works really well in Kari, works really well in Felt Rose, as long as you don't plan on calling this. All around, this thing works really good as a support card for a lot of decks, and I give it a 3 over 2 for it. Now on to our new ride line, which I just find interesting for Lyrical Monasterio, because unlike all the other ride lines, this one has different names for all the units. So we have Cutie Topic Rabina, grade 0 boost, 5k shield, 6k base. Auto resort upon if you want second draw card. Nothing too special about it besides the ears. Then we have Sniping, Eyeful, Leranje. Grade 1 boost, 5k shield, 8k base. Active Vanguard or rear guard once per turn. Soul Blast 1 and discard 1 to draw a card. Okay, and powerful. But she really did it. They made it the keyword. Continues Vanguard if your soul has no cards. When you would ride an attached Peach entrance from your ride deck, you may ride it without discarding a card. So, only from your Soul Blast, regardless of where it is on Van or rear, you get to discard and draw. Okay, I actually like that because, as you know, I love abilities that aren't Vanguard restricted, so that's really good for me. But then also, you don't have to pay the cost for getting your ride deck of attached Peach. Okay, that's pretty good. As long as this never encounters them on in premium, I think we're going to be fine, because you just need no soul cards. Speaking of which, we have attached Preach and Arntez, grade 2, intercept 5k shield, 10k base, continues Fan and Rearguard during the battle that this unit attacks, gets +2, and the shade abilities return. But then powerful continues Vanguard if your soul has no card. When you would ride Coming Beauty, Herminia from your ride deck, you may ride without discarding a card. You see, I would argue this is the ability of power, but it's really not, so, you know, as long as you have no soul, so this is where you need to have this come in, or just multiple soul blasters like this, for your builds not to go off, and, you know, you can use it to get free ride deck. Yeah, that's fine, you know, ride deck discarding is definitely a problem, considering a lot of people most of the time discard triggers, so I guess that fixes it. So, you know, obviously 1 in the main deck, by the way, 4 in the regardless main deck or ride deck, but this one is 1 in the main deck maybe, and then obviously 1 in the ride deck. And then we have a grade 3 Incoming Beauty Herminia, grade 3 Twin Drive Persona Ride, 13k base, act Vanguard Circle, Counterblast 1, and this unit gets +5. Notice that is not a once per turn, and typically when Bushy does that, that means something's up. Powerful. Now, an actual powerful ability, Auto Vanguard. At the end of the battle that this unit attacked, if the total number of cards in your soul and face-up damage zone are 0, discard a card from your hand, choose one of your rear guards with powerful, stand it, and reduce the next time you counterblast by 1. Okay, well, you know, the good news is because they have powerful, you could just target any of the ride line and or their support cards. So that's good. Downside is it doesn't give extra power, and it only reduces the next time you counterblast by 1, and you also have to bring yourself down to 0. So, you know, it's not that hard to do, because she's not a once per turn, so just bring yourself to low damage the first turn, and then just counterblast a bunch, but then you also have to make sure that you keep soul blasting, because if you keep Persona riding, you're going to keep getting souls, so you're going to need things like this to replace it. Either way, I think this thing's a fine card. Definitely not as I was expecting it to do. I do wish it would have stood the Vanguard, but it's still a good ability. It allows you to get a free counterblast, it gets you a standing of a rear guard for all of a discard, and it is a deck that can spam at least counterblast on the Vanguard for power. So it's not that bad. I give this ride line a 3 out of 4, and I give this a 3 in the main deck, 1 in the ride deck. And then our last card for today is Bathing Fountain Telues, grade 3 Twin Drive Persona Ride, 13k base, powerful, auto rear. When this unit attacks the Vanguard, if your soul has no cards, counterblast 1 ton of turn, this unit gains the following ability, in a battle, it gains the following ability, auto rear. When this unit attack hits, draw a card, and one of your other units gets +5 for the turn. So, you know, you counterblast 1 to get the on-hit draw skill, but then you give someone else +5. I'm really disappointed in that, because I really wish it would just give itself +5, because then you could, you know, use that +5 in the restand with Herminia, but it's fine, I guess. Telues does a thing. It's not really the support card I think we needed. I mean, it's really close to the support card I think we needed, but it's still a good support card nonetheless, and we do need a support card for powerful, so I gave it a 4 in a powerful deck. And that was it. So if you guys enjoyed, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, donate to the Patreon, join Discord, follow Twitch, and I'll see you on the next one. Don't forget to stand up your Vanguards.